这个是真的来叫啊！阿拉中有2万人，所有人都在叫，要命了！就刚刚5分钟前头，叫的没几个了，现在突然之间，所有人都叫了，要死！到底维持到啥个辰光？侬总要拨个标准，或者是讲有一个具体的说法。没，侬讲看，闷了7天。
Yikes. That, of course, is crazy video coming out of Shanghai, China, where, the government just indefinitely detained 26 million people without the proper equipment or food. A policy that this man publicly cheers on. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there is a lot of crazy news out there today that we will be covering, especially when it comes to this mystery in Alaska, the latest saber-rattling full-scale deployment, the latest escalations, and of course, de-dollarization. This, as well as Hunter Biden looking like he's going to be in a lot more trouble, especially from the latest bombshells that just came out recently. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more. But before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was, of course, put on Twitter by Dr. Eric Ding, who says that this is a verified video highlighting the absolute tragedy unfolding in China, which he has compared to the Great Chinese Famine of 1959. This is, of course, when the Chinese government is accused of starving 15 to maybe 55 million people to the point where they didn't exist in this world. The Chinese government is also deploying their latest surveillance measures in order to deal with this, quote, tragedy, now also unveiling thermal imaging helmets that help them detect anyone who possibly has a fever on the streets in China. Here in the United States, well, there's a lot of billionaires, a lot of globalists, a lot of tech mobiles, a lot of politicians who love to see what China's doing and want to implement it here. That's not a hyperbolic statement, as even the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, just publicly stated that people that he deems to be rude or to not tell the truth to be, of course, stripped away of any privacy, calling for people's social media anonymity to be, quote, stripped away from them. This, as technology becomes more intertwined with daily life, and now almost everyone has a digital record, to the point where even Elon Musk, one of the world's richest people, said just recently that humans could eventually download their brains into robots and live forever. This from the same man that is literally working on a Neuralink brain chip interface that already has monkeys playing video games through just their thoughts and ideas. And with technology becoming more central to everyone's life, I think it's fair to say that there soon might reach a point where technology might be life for a lot of individuals. For me personally, no thank you, since a lot of that power will be centralized amongst unaccountable government officials, like of course the FBI, that just failed to convict on their larger alleged plot that they allegedly broke. More information's coming to light that they actually created the plot to allegedly kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. This, as just moments ago, a jury could not convict 2 men that were essential in this alleged plot that, of course, we heard in the corporate media. This was a very heavily politicized case that now just fell flat on its face and was exposed as wrongdoing by the FBI and not of those accused in the case. Now, of course, the domestic intelligence agencies in the United States are very political, are very partisan, and we don't have to look any further to understand that than, of course, the Hunter Biden story and legacy, which, of course, the intelligence agencies, law enforcement agencies of this country have been aiding and abetting in some of the most salacious acts by the president's son that you could even potentially imagine. Already, there was videos, photos that were very troublesome, to say the least. We can't even mention what videos are out there of the president's son that could have previously been used as blackmail, as a form of extortion for political favors. There's a lot of very shady business dealings inside of China, inside of Ukraine. All of this from Hunter Biden's laptop, which, according to Jack Maxey, the whistleblower who handed Hunter Biden's laptop to Congress and to other media organizations, according to this whistleblower, there is an additional 450 gigabytes of deleted material and information, including around 80,000 images and videos from Hunter Biden's laptop that this whistleblower allegedly has in his possession. This whistleblower fled to Switzerland because he is fearing retaliation from the White House. He's now coming out publicly speaking about this, as he is saying he is working with IT experts digging up more data from this laptop from hell, which he says he intends to post all of the content online in the database in the next coming weeks. This is huge news, especially since, of course, the undeleted contents on Hunter Biden's laptop were already very eye-opening, to say the least. What was deleted on that laptop? Whoa, I mean, I could only imagine. And again, this is the story that the White House, the corporate media, and major elements of U.S. intelligence agencies told you was not true, was fake, was alleged Russian disinformation. And of course now, the Washington Post, New York Times admits that they were wrong. This story is true. The laptop has been verified. It was suppressed right before the presidential elections, which of course had a huge impact on who was president of the United States, as of course we had clear collusion from a bombshell, eye-opening story that now has been confirmed to be true. On social media, people talked about this story. They were censored. The New York Post censored from Twitter from reporting on this accurately. And this is, again, why we are building up our own infrastructure, our own website, our own platform. We do that all exclusively on wearechange.org. And one very easy way to get involved in that is to simply just buy a t-shirt to support our efforts. But more importantly, these t-shirts are a way of doing activism without even trying. This is one of the best ways to spread important messaging out there, to help people think, to find like-minded individuals, to spur on debates and conversations. The shirt that I'm wearing right now is a picture of Ron Paul with the tagline saying, "If I told you so was a person," and it's absolutely true. I was wearing this at yesterday's Bitcoin conference when they were doing their sound, money, music, comedy performances, and I can't tell you how many people stopped me and said, yes, absolutely, amazing t-shirt. I can't agree more. Showing people that they're not alone, meeting like-minded individuals. We used to give out DVDs and flyers in the middle of the street as a form of activism, but right now, you don't even have to do all of that. No hassles. Just wear a t-shirt. Get the political messaging out there. We're launching a brand new shirt almost every single week. And you could check them out while supplies still last, while this global supply chain still haven't been disrupted on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Click the link down in the description below to find out more about how you could do your part and help wake up the larger Kyle and Karens out there. Now, logging on to the internet today, there's a lot of chatter about these latest photos coming from Alaska. What is it? A UFO? Secret U.S. technology? Is it related to Russia? Is it related to the war in Ukraine? What's going on here? Well, no one really knows. But according to the authorities, this is allegedly from a contrail from an aircraft that was headed towards JFK Airport to New York. And allegedly, according to Alaskan troopers, they believe that this was the contrail from a commercial jet met with, of course, the rising sun, which allegedly, according to them, caused this unique atmospheric sight. But whatever you may think it is, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people are on edge, especially with, of course, the larger conflict happening in Ukraine. This, as we have seen, the conflict in Ukraine de-escalate a little bit, but the tensions escalate significantly, especially internationally with foreign policy. as of course the information war has heated up, and it looks like the Russian and the American governments are fighting more with PR than they are with missiles. This as the Ukrainians are blaming the Russians are blaming the Ukrainians on the latest events that are unfolding there. Everyone has their side, everyone has their propaganda, everyone has their disinformation, and we do have to recognize that Ukraine has used a lot of marketing, a lot of PR that has paid off, especially when it comes to the support of the West, which they have been successfully able to galvanize and of course greatly impact their position during this key conflict between the West and the East. Reuters even is reporting how Kiev, Ukraine specifically, is putting pressure on the West to do more. And there has been a larger information campaign that even according to Pew Research now has 7 in 10 Americans seeing Russia as the enemy. Now this has also been built up in the media sphere ever since the 2016 presidential elections. And I think it's fair to say that there has been a concerted effort setting up this current landscape between the East and the West for a very long time. Now, I'm always very skeptical of polls and how questions are asked and how they're manufactured, since I do believe a lot of polls are manipulated in order to get a particular outcome rather than a perspective. But with the larger PR efforts that I've been seeing, it wouldn't surprise me if this poll is generally true. All of this as, of course, we have been documenting the major military increases that we have seen on the Russian border by, of course, NATO and Western forces. This, as just moments ago, NATO announced that they're planning a full-scale force to be positioned on Russia's border in order to, quote, defend against any Russian aggression further from, of course, Ukraine. This move has been described as a, quote, reset for NATO in Europe. This move will, of course, be seen as a major aggressive move by Russia that is already on edge and threatening very significant ramifications because of the escalations that have been happening, and again will only continue to probably escalate from here, as we've been telling you for a very long time. Right now, NATO has 40,000 troops on its eastern border, according to the official reports, 10 times higher than they were before the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. This escalation is met by other escalation by the East that, of course, also is significantly moving their military hardware to, of course, NATO's border. Russia allegedly also just appointed a new general to oversee the invasion of Ukraine. There, of course, has been a massive military buildup for a very long time. And when there was prospects of potential peace talks coming together, stopping this situation, we noted to you that there was still a significant portion of Russian military hardware headed to the front lines. And of course, that's most likely going to be true even more now with these latest escalations, as even China is deciding to set their own saber rattle. As according to the Wall Street Journal, they are accelerating their nuclear buildup program over, of course, fears of a potential conflict with the United States. Now, of course, China is also dealing with a very serious domestic situation, as we have been documenting here on this independent media broadcast, and it looks like they are dealing with a whirlwind of a lot of significant troubles and issues, specifically when it even comes to feeding their own people. This is, again, not something unique to history. You study history, you could understand why some people are starting to become preppers, something that we have been warning about, telling you about, since, of course, these larger saber rattlings and destruction of global peace is creating a situation that is also creating a very bad financial one for everyone, as even The Hill wrote a very interesting article talking about, quote, are we witnessing the beginning of de-dollarization? Something, of course, that we have been talking about for a number of years now. This is a very significant threat, especially with the disruption of global trade, the disruption of energy from Russia, fertilizer from Russia, wheat from Ukraine, global supply chains being disrupted in China with, of course, the lockdown of 26 million people. What in the world is going on here? This met with, of course, a deliberate destruction of the U.S. purchasing power of the dollar that has been happening for decades already. What's going to be happening in the future? How will things work out financially? Will there be another sickness? Well, according to the man with man-bazungas, yes. Very interestingly, the man with man-bazungas is also the person invested in the cure and the organizations calling the shots here. Something, of course, that I would be just a little skeptical of. But that's just me. I might be wrong, and if you think I am in any way, shape, or form, please let me know down in the comments below. I always appreciate your constructive criticism. I don't always get everything right. No one does. No one's perfect. But being able to be open, transparent, and accountable to you is something that I strive to do. And if you thought I did that, as well as informed you about the larger geopolitical picture that's happening right now in this world, share this video with your friends and family members. It's more imperative than ever, because if you don't, there's no other way that people see this video. We don't do any advertising. We don't do any kind of real marketing. We don't do any kind of targeted ads. Nothing. The way that these videos get out is mainly from you watching and sharing them. And because you do, I am here, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on of course, WeAreChange.org. And I did a video surrounding these topics, discussing them from a different perspective, which I think you'd be interesting, which you could watch right now by clicking this link. I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more.